So we explained we're up to hey about the idea that you're in this soda, that in Elul is the Melech Basoda. The Rebbe is going to explain now from the Maimer that the soda is davke. There is actually three levels. There's a level also of a midbar, and then the level of ir. So soda, when it says that the king is in the soda, is davke because there is also a level of midbar, which is bechlal, not the place where a king goes, and it's outside of the realm of kedusha. Soda is the place in which there is a field that grows things, and the bread grows there. The person elevates, which represents that while it's still not in kedusha, but you can elevate it to the kedusha. Let's look inside. Hey. It's explained in the continuation of the Maimer in Likutei Torah, Shekashem sheyesh bechinas soda, just as there is a level of field, kach yesh bechinas midbar, there is also a level which is called the desert. Also not the city, but it's a desert. There's a field and there's a desert. Desert is Eretz Loi Zerua. It's a land that has not been sown. Asher Lo Yoshav Odom Shom. No man sits there. It's not a settled place. It's not an inhabited place. Not a place for people to see to sit in. Mashal the Chodesh Elul. But when we give the mashal of the month of Elul, we say Melech Bas Sodeh. We're not talking about a midbar. We're talking Dafke, the king in the field, because Shahasode Nailem Midbar. The field is on a higher level than the desert. The Gambe Pashtus, also, as you look at it in the simple level, Hamid Midbar hu Eretz Leizrua. The Midbar is a land that is not sown. Mashenkin Hasode, as opposed to, it doesn't grow there. It's a desert, it's a desert. Mashenkin Hasode, as opposed to the field of Mokim Zriyas, Utsmichas Alechem. It's the place where you sow and where bread grows. So bread, which is the uh, staple and supports the person's heart, lechem levav enish, comes from the field. It's growing. There's growing thing. It's not like the midbar, which is nothing there. It is a land from which bread comes out. So what happens with the bread? So you sort it out. And we elevated the lechem levav enish yisod, and the bread supports the heart of people, meaning they eat bread. That is what satisfies them, and the people elevate from the tzemeach to the higher level. The lo yala lechem levada yichye ha'adam, and it's not just on lechem itself that the person lives, as the pasuk says, "Ki malkol pi havaye shebelechem," but on the what comes from Hashem's mouth, the pi havaye, that the spark, that energizes the lechem, the moitze pi havaye, which is in the lechem, that is what vitalized the person. Hanitzutz eliki shebelechem. We're talking about that godly spark which is in the bread. As explained in Kisar and many places. So that means that the field is a place where things grow and things are elevated and provides that spark that the person needs, and the godly spark which vitalizes the person. That's a field, as opposed to the midbar, which is not sown. doesn't grow. Lo yizruah. V'nimtza shachidush yesod al iru midbarhu. So what's the specialty, the novelty of a field different than a city and a desert? So what's the specialty? The ir heim habatim shebetoch trum kedusha. City represents the houses that are inside the boundaries of kedusha. That's ir. That's the city. V'hasada, and the field is toichnahu habiru shel ha'inyonim shemechutz labayis v'achnasos mutech kedusha. That's to sort out the matters that are outside of the home and to bring them in to kedusha. V'zeu klolus avodas ha'odom. This is basically the field. Is generally the service of man, levadet es inyone ha'ilom, to sort out the worldly matters, ulahaloisom likus, and to bring them up, elevate them to godliness. Gam mitamzeh, also for this reason that the bread is the elevation, the field where it grows is the level of elevation. That's why clothes hakarbonis nikroim b'shem as karboni lachmi liisha. It's my sacrifice, which is a bread to my fires. Inyan halachem, the idea of lechem, just like the lechem is elevated and supports the adam. It's also is lachmi liisha. It's Hashem's bread as well that goes to my fire. The idea of lechem. Razal, and to use the language of our sages of blessed memory, they say Rayosi Parnososi. When the Eivishter refers to the Yidden as Rayosi, that means Parnososi, they support me. The Yidden support by giving the Eivishter the Korbonis, that becomes the Lachmi Liishai, that becomes the Lachem of Hashem. So that's the idea of lechem, the way it applies, just like by the person, the lechem vitalizes and gives chayis, energizes the person. The lechem is energizes the fire, energizes sort of Hashem. They become parnasos. Now, while we are called Rayosi, the real korbanis is going to be this lachmi liishai parnasosi is going to be losilova. We don't have a Beis Hamikdash now, and we don't have real avodas hakorbanos. Vov v'hinishleimus avodas hakorbanos, the completeness, the wholesomeness of the service of korbanos, which is the lachmi liishai. It's the Eibishter's bread to the fire. That's going to be in the future, specifically. Now we don't have that. So now we have a substitute. Even though that also in the time of exile we have korbanos. How? By occupying ourselves in the teachings of korbanos, in the laws of korbanos. Commercial Kosov, like the pasuk says, "Unishalmos forim sfaseinu," will make up for the bulls that are korbanos with our lips, with our davening, or with our learning Torah. Shezeh, even though the word v'nishalma means will make up, but the nishalma also has the meaning it will make it wholesome. Lashon shlemus, that even the davening, the learning, asik b'teres korbanos is in a way that it brings shlemus, as if bringing korbanos in a wholesome way. Shezeh koil gam inyan u'nishalma l'loshen shlemus. So, notwithstanding that we still have those inyonim, but the reality, the real korbanos is still going to be lost in love, as we say in the davening that Davke Vishom, after the Eibush builds for us the Beis Hamikdash, lost in love. The main idea of the korban is the full aspect of korbanis, the lachmili ishai, is going to be in the future to come. As we say in the davening, there we will do the before you as the mitzvahs the way you want it. The dafki in the future to come, the observance of all the mitzvahs, ubefarat mitzvahs hakrovas hakorban shoyikir avedo, especially all mitzvahs. That's not mitzvahs ritzenecha. So all mitzvahs will be then lost in love will be like mitzvahs ritzenecha. But especially mitzvahs hakrovas hakorbanes, and also especially specifically the mitzvah of bringing the korbanos shehi ikir ha'avodah. That is the main service. Avodah is korbanos, but tachlis hashlemus will be in the full completeness in this wholesome way. So the accomplishment that the sodeh elevates and becomes lechem brings, this will mainly be in the shleimus navedis hakabonis. The shleimat b'furish b'kroi. So we can say that this is also specifically in the psukim, the la'osid lovei yu gam kin sodes, that over there will also be fields. If there will be fields, means that it'll grow, there will be lechem, and there will be the korbanos. And perhaps we can say the Yerushalayim legabe Beis Hamikdash hu dugmas soda, that when you measure Yerushalayim next to the Beis Hamikdash, so the soda is lower level than the ir. So the same thing is Yerushalayim next to the Beis Hamikdash, it's lower than the Beis Hamikdash. Hu dugmas soda. That's like the field. In addition to the, simply there'll be fields outside of Yerushalayim. So that's why the Rebbe says that it says in the Pasuk, Yirmiyah Lamed based as well, that there will be the Sodis. That means that there will still be the idea of this karboni lachmi that comes from the field. The field will provide, just like we're talking now, that from this soda to bring it into the field. And the field is necessarily the literal fields that will be, but even the whole city of Yerushalayim is considered a field next to the Beis Hamikdash. So basically Yerushalayim will feed into the Beis Hamikdash. Ella, but the way it's going to be, but then they will be negated. Those partitions that consists between the ir and the soda will be taken away. The hagilui shebebeis hamikdash, the revelation that is in the Beis Hamikdash, which is in this metaphor is called the ir versus the soda, is Pashit Gam Yerushalayim in HaKodesh. That's going to expand also in Yerushalayim, the holy city. That's the soda. The Gam Besoda is in this relative to the Beis Hamikdash. The Gam Besoda is Umegroshim Shemachutz LeYerushalayim. Also in the fields and the lots that are outside of Yerushalayim. So what the Rebbe is getting at is that there will be an expansion from the Beis Hamikdash, which is the ear, into Yerushalayim, into the Soda, and this will connect to the end of the Parsha Shoftim, as we'll see. The Gilu shebebeis Hamikdash ir yispashet gam Yerushalayim mir hakodesh, v'gam besodos u'migroshim shemechutz Yerushalayim, the fields and the lots which is outside Yerushalayim. Aderach Maimer Razal, similar to the saying of our sages of blessed memory, Asida Yerushalayim shetispashet b'chol Eretz Yisrael. Yerushalayim is going to expand in all of Eretz Yisrael. Asida Eretz Yisrael shetispashet b'chol ha'arotzos. And Eretz Yisrael is in the future going to expand to all lands. As the pasuk says, when the glory of Hashem will be revealed, so that all flesh will see it together. Meaning that the giluyim that you have in the Beis Hamikdash is going to be seen by everybody, by all flesh. It's going to expand. The fact that there is a soda and an ear. Ear is the Beis Hamikdash, the gilui, and the field, which is less gilui, but the gilui of the Beis Hamikdash will expand also to Yerushalayim and all of Eretz Yisrael, all of the world. That means that the mechitzas will come down, because everyone is going to get from the higher level, from the ear, from the Beis Hamikdash. And this will explain how Shoftim is connected to Elul, which it always comes out in Parshas Elul, because while Shoftim in the beginning is judges a separation, but later on it talks about after you have this Shoftim v'Shoftim, the Parsha continues the idea of that everything will be according after the separation. It will follow in the way that the mechitzas will be bottled, like we say, los love apizeyesh lataretz ulevayer gam haremes behakesher the toichen derush. Also to answer and to explain the hint of how to connect the mimer with the Parsha Shoftim. Inyan bitla mechitzas kulam b'shova. The mimer discusses about the bitla mechitzas, everybody together, everybody can see the king, and everybody can be there, that there is no mechitzas. In Parsha Shoftim, with the Parsha Shoftim, Shubegilu, where does it come out opening? Where do we see this connection in Siyum HaParsha? In the end of the Parsha. The Hine, Inyan Shoftim v'Shoftim Gomer hu kenal levarer hachiluk v'hamchitzes shebein zeh lezeh. What is the Shoftim v'Shoftim? That is to sort out the differences, the partitions, which is between one and another, ben din ledin. Judges, they distinguish, they make distinction. The different, this is here, this is that. That's partition, separation. But when the work, the act of the shoftim has concluded, and then it extends afterwards, in conduct, kol hayomim, to follow in his step all days, which is in the end in Perik Yutes, Posik Tes. So, Oz Nase Bitl HaMechitzes. So at that time, those partitions are become bottled. The ad, to the extent, Shel Achar Izeh, the Posik says, Yarchi Hashem es Gevulcha. Further in the Posik, it says Hashem will widen your area, meaning that it'll become more, that the is not going to be any more limited. It's going to be bitla mechitza. Yarch Hashem es Gevulcha. Al Yidei Asher Lifnei Zeh tishmer leleches b'drachav kol hayomim, by following the ways of Hashem, then the mechitza will be bottled, is going to be no more limited. Yarchiv Hashem es gevulcha. The inyan yarchiv Hashem lekecha es gevulcha. What is the idea of widening your territory? So what does it mean that the Eibishter will widen? Okay, so physically we know what it means. The Eibishter is going to give them the Keni Nizi Kadmoini, giving them the more area than they had before. That means that it expanded. It expanded to outside of Eretz Yisrael. It expanded to new areas. But in Avodas Hashem, meaning that your service of Hashem expands to additional areas in your service of Hashem, which you didn't have before in the time of Golus. The Inyan Yarchav Hashem es Gevulcha Yesh Loimar Asher Beruchnius. This is spiritually what it means, though. Inyan Masha Asida Eretz Yisrael Shetispashet B'chol Ha'arotzis. That Eretz Yisrael will expand into all the lands. So that means Va'ad Sheyiyah Hagilu D'Bchinas Chabad, until to the extent that there will also be the revelation of the levels of Chabad, where while the service now before Yarchiv Hashem es Gevulcha and Golus is mainly with the emotion, with the Chesed Gura Tiferes, not so much with the Chabad. But when Yarchiv Hashem es Gevulcha, which means that the territory will give, that it expands to the person in all of the levels, he gets also the level of Chacham bin Avdas. As our sages of blessed memory say on the verse, Hashem will widen your territory. This goes on Keni Knizi V'Kadmoni, which is the level of Chachma bin Adas. It's explained in the Maimer Al Totzar from the Mittler Rebbe. Shem B'chinas Chabad. That's the level of Chachma bin Adas. The Keni Knizi V'Kadmoni will include in Eretz Yisrael also the Keni Knizi V'Kadmoni, the level of Chabad. The way it comes down now, it's only on the 7 lower levels of Chagas Nehim, and this is going to be wide in the future, that we're also going to get from the level of Chabad. We can say Bifrat, specifically this is Al Yidei Hagdomas Havayda the Yefutzu Menisach Al Chutzo, through the avodah of spreading the well springs to the outside, that we, in a way that people understand and grasp, which is going to be Yisparnas Uminei. They're going to be fed from it, as the Loshen, that the learning is not just going to be intellectually, but it's actually going to come down in an inner, the Kunei Zohar says. So Chabad, B'loi Oid El Shagam Gimul Ha'arotzis Chabad, and we say not only that, but these 3 lands, the Keni, Kriz, Kadmoin, the Chabad, speaking about that, you boy from the Kibush, you will conquer them. Shenase Balabais Gamaleim, that the person becomes, he owns them, he becomes ownership, the owner also of Rechach bin Vadas. Va'ad Shagam Chelik Torah Zeh, to the extent that even this part of Torah, Yispanus Minei, how does it Torah say? It becomes his Torah. That means just like we say Nikras al Shemoi, Shenikras al Shemoi is called on him, but through learning it B'Havona Vasoga and Yafutsu B'Nisach Chutza in an Eifon of Havona Vasoga. So now we are actually using our Chabad to understand this. That's the preparation, becomes Ishmael to Yarchiv Hashem es Gevulcha, to get the Keni Kniz V'Kadmoni, to get the levels of Chabad. Ches v'yirotzen. Then we conclude, "Shekein tiyeh lanu," so it should be to us. Alidei hakdomas ha'avodah dafotzes ha'mayonos chutza, through the introduction of the work of spreading the wellsprings to the outside. The kibush chabad shebenefesh, and the conquering of the chokhmah bina das in the soul. Nobel bikarev mamish lekibush chabad shebeolam will come very soon to also conquering the chokhmah bina das, which is in the world. Ad lekibush betachlis, till the conquering total kibush ba'ofer shenikras al shmoi, that it should be called in his name. The because he owns it, the Hispanus Minei becomes his. The Kuyim Zeh Ba'ofen Dachishanu Bizrizus, and this should be fulfilled in a way of quickly, in a quick way. Bizrizus should take it from a yad Beloshna Rambam immediately. Mistayim Agolus, the Golus finishes the Koivshim Bishlemus Etzeret Shiva Hamomim, and we conquer completely, fully the land of 7 nations. And immediately afterwards, Gama said is Gimel Omes, also the lands of the other 3 Umas, so the Zayin Tachtonis and Chabad, Ubiyachad, together, Eser Eretz Amomim, the land of 10 nations, the Mispar Eser Moira al Shashlemus Osid, the Mispar 10, that represents the wholesomeness of the future. Razal, as our sage of blessed memory says, that the harp in the future to come has 10 strands. So 10 represents shleimus of Lasid Love. Lasid Love will also be Tia Shira Hasidus. It will be the 10th song that the Yidden sang for Eibishter. Va'apora Hasidus, also the 10th heifer will be then brought. Va'minyan Hasid, and also the 10th count of the Yidden. Shakosh Baruch Hu Menes Yisrael Neiv Chibbason, that the Eibishter counts them because he loves them. So this is all connection with the level of 10, of the 7 and the 3 and the 10. All this very speedily in our days, literally, Bisman Mokov Shalom, in the time and space of ours, Shavis Begufin, while we're souls and bodies, and with happiness and gladness of heart.